Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Churchill III. It's a Tier 5 Soviet premium heavy. It's located on the westbourne of Berlin Encounter and it's under the command of demontaxidriver. Well, this tank is armed with a 6-pounder gun, which is capable of doing 75 alpha, penetrating 110mm, and well, a 6-pounder is basically a 57mm gun as far as the Soviets are concerned. Now, they received 301 of these tanks from the British under Lend-Lease, and in fact most of the tanks were actually sent to Russia after they lost all of their tank corps when the Germans invaded in July, or June rather, is it July? June 21st, 1941. So yes, the Soviets were rather desperate. They had no tanks left to repel the German invasion, and so any tanks they can get hold of they were using as well as they could. Oh, M4A1. And in fact, actually they got some of those from the Americans on Lend-Lease as well. What have we got over there? KV1. Oh, we'll just put a round into our tracks. Try and get another shot in. Bit difficult. You've got good penetration with this gun. Oh, and he took an HE round there from the M4A1. We can't see him, but he's hidden over there firing in our direction. Now, the good thing about the 57mm 6-pounder is that you do have a lot of shots to play with. You can see that demontaxidriver has loaded a lot of standard ammo and a few APCRs just in case. Now, the Soviets weren't very impressed with some of the tanks they were actually sent. They were desperate for any tanks at all, but some of them were basically hand-me-downs. They were tanks that were less than effective, and some of them were obsolete, and they weren't even given manuals on how to fix them. Okay, took a round. That's a 17-pounder round from the S35CA. The bathtub. Oh, that's good. Sav M43 saw to him, and now there's a Valentine AT just around the corner. Yeah, the Soviets found some of the tanks overly complicated, but a few of them they actually rather liked because they were easy to fix and mechanically they were very reliable. One of the tanks that was very reliable was a Valentine actually, and they also used the Matilda. And you can see he's getting nice shots onto that Valentine AT. And he's out the game. In fact, he switched to the APCR to make sure he could get the pens there. And he's forgot to switch back. So, yes, unfortunately at the moment, he's got limited amount of APCR left. Only 25 shots. Just around the corner is the KV1. Can he get a shot? I think he needs to turn a little more acutely. So when he turns up, that's better. Puts one through the turret, and now he just needs to finish off that KV1. Just keep pumping those rounds in. Go for the drive wheel. Yes, easily pen the drive wheel. Keeps him there, isolated. That's it. The guy's only got the 76mm, so he can't do a lot of damage, and he's gone. So that's his second kill. Still loaded with the APCR. He might find that expensive at the end of the game. Oh, SU-85 gets it with 2 shots. Nice. Well, over there we've got a Lux, and he's on the side of the cap area, blocking our capping. Got a Chinu inside the bunker. The Lux outside, blocking it. I think the Churchill was actually one of the tanks which the Soviet engineers didn't particularly like, because they found the suspension system overly complicated. They did, however, like the Matildas and they liked the Valentines, because they found them very robust indeed. Tanks that will keep going even under the most extreme conditions. So even though they were given a load of hand-me-downs, they still liked them. And he's got that one. So that's 4 kills now. He's having a good game. There's only 7 enemies left. Shots were coming in his direction. Oh, there's the Lux. And Armada's just tried to hit him and failed. It's pretty amazing, actually, that the defence of Moscow during the early stages of the winter of 1941 was mostly carried out by British tanks, not by Soviet ones. The Soviet ones had all been wiped out, and so it was the only ones they had left were the British ones, which had been sent over to Murmansk on the convoys. Only 4 enemies left: a Chihi, an Su-85 and a Marder, and the Marder's knocking on the door saying hello. So we just got to drive up on him and try and find out where he is. Looks like Demon Taxi Driver's got a steel wall if he can survive the battle. There's only 2 enemies remaining now, the Marder and then the Su-85. There's the Marder. Okay, finish him off. Still firing the APCR. Doesn't really need it. Good fire standard. He's firing standard now. And he's easily going through the Marder's hull. Yeah, got him. That's his Top Gun. 1 enemy remains. And as far as we know, he's actually up in the northeast corner of the map. So he might as well turn around and go back in that direction. We've got 2 guys in the cap. They don't need to be there. So yes, actually, some of the Soviets didn't particularly like the guns that they were actually given on the Matildas and the Valentines. So what they did is they changed the guns for some of their own, because of course they were manufacturing their own ammunition. And of course that's where you get the Matilda 4, which is armed with a 76mm Soviet-made gun. And I think he's given up. It's going to be too long for him to get there, and he'll let the Sav M43 take the kill, and either that or the guys will cap out at the end, and he'll pick up the medal. Oh, there's the Su-85. He's actually near the bridge, and there he goes. Game's over. He's got a medal. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Well, here's the end of battle stats. It was a first-class tanker for Demon Taxi Driver in the Churchill III. He managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 12 in that one. A duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him. A fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle. And a shell proof for blocking more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle. He picked up a steel wall because he blocked the most damage in that game. At least 11 shots and 1,000 hit points of potential damage. The most damage that was blocked. The high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and a Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills. He got 6 exactly. I didn't want to drive all the way after that Su-85. There would be no point. He wouldn't have got there in time anyway. So, team score. 2,300 hit points of damage. Nobody else was near him on that one. The next highest scorer being the Electo with 1,418, and the Su-85 on the enemy team 1,010. And when it came to kills, again, nobody else is near him. He managed to get 6 kills, the Top Gun, which is 2/5 of the enemy team. 4 kills went to the Electo, 2 kills went to the Sav M43, the Su-85 and the Marder on the enemy team. And when it came to base XP, yes, he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,736 base for Demon Taxi Driver, the only player to get over 1,000. 644 to the Electo and 542 to the Chi-Nu. He fired 41 rounds in that game. 36 direct hits and 33 penetrations. And most of that was down to the fact that he was firing APCR. I think he switched to APCR for the bathtub and forgot to change it back. I mean, he could have actually penetrated most of those enemy tanks with just standard ammo. 2,300 hit points of damage, of which 160 were at more than 300 meters. 11 hits received from the enemy. So he just qualified for the steel wall. 1 was a penetration, 7 non-penetrations, and 3 hits by way of splash damage as well. The penetrating shot actually came from the bathtub. Yes, it was that big 17-pounder round, carved a hole straight through his vehicle. The rest of them just bounced off the tracks. 3 hits by way of splash damage, I did say that. Those are the HE rounds fired at him from the M4A1. 950 hit points of damage blocked by armour. 2 enemy vehicles spotted, 8 enemy vehicles damaged and 6 killed, and 257 hit points of damage assistance. And he managed to get 18 defense points when he reset the cap and shot the looks in the cap. On a premium count, he earned 47,884 credits, got 20,000 from mission payout, and after ammunition resupply and repair, and yes, it's the ammunition that really cost him, he only made a profit of 11,072 credits. If he'd actually switched back to standard ammo, he probably would have made a huge profit out of this game, but as it is, he burned most of his credits away, firing APCR at tanks that really didn't need it. Yes, I think he probably recognises that, but we all tend to forget which ammo we're actually firing most of the time. Unless, of course, we're very cautious about that sort of thing, and I think those players at the top of the tree tend to know which ammo they're firing at any one specific time, especially if they only have a limited number of ammo available, limited amount of shells. He received 1,736 XP, got 5,208 from personal missions payout and 1,042 for this being a premium vehicle, and took away 8,854 experience points altogether. Now, the Churchill III is one of the easiest tanks to mark in the game, simply because it's a very low tier. You're coming up against players who aren't very well practiced, so you can practice your own angling to avoid damage, use those huge tracks to block damage from the enemy, pick up lots of medals for doing that as well, or at least as demontaxidriver did here, a nice little steel wall. But the 57mm gun is very good at punching holes in the enemy, so if you are interested in marking a tank, this is one I'd highly recommend. But one step more than that is, because it's a heavy tank, you can actually train crews in this tank for, say, something like the KV-1, the KV-1S, and the other heavy tanks that are in the Soviet line. So do consider doing that, because I think you might find not only that it's easier to actually get the marks in a tank like this, but it's also easier to train your crews and get them up to speed, so that when you do get a higher tier tank, you can then plonk a ready trained crew straight in there, no problem whatsoever, and you're ready to go and deal a lot of damage at the higher tiers. So if you enjoyed this replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.